Well, thank you so much. I want you to have a look at the picture. I don't know whether you can see. If you can read what is written. This is one of the Kenya dailies, somewhere August last year, 2017. The title was saying, drought puts millions of Kenyans at risk of starvation. And then a subtitle was down somewhere saying that cattle now going for only $5 approximately in Kajiado County. So just try to figure out the value, like one cattle going for $5. And I think looking at that drives us to, I want to use that to take us to the landscape that I'm talking about. I want to talk about pastoral and agro-pastoral regions or parts of Kenya. That is mainly northern Kenya and such related areas, where livestock production is the main source of livelihood for the people there. And we are talking of a place that's taking about almost 90% of Kenya is dry. So you find people living there, about almost 25% of Kenyans living there. And now what they live on, which is livestock, going for $5. That is a challenge. So why are we there? What is the challenge? The challenge is, if you can have a look at what is the picture there, we are talking of degrading lands which are, in quotes, with no life, yeah, in terms of there's no pasture. These lands have been divided so that the traditional systems of, say, fodder production or management, like things like communal grazing systems and as traditional systems of managing pastures are no longer practicable, or they're no longer reliable. So these are major problems that we are talking about. So, but then the government of Kenya, in collaboration with partners, have tried, almost about 3 decades ago, came up with an idea that we can do pasture production as a way of curbing this challenge. And what was the idea behind this? One is to do fodder production to ensure all-season availability of pasture in terms of livestock feed. 2, this was done as a way of addressing degradation, as you can see there. So that was the second aim. And the third aim was to use fodder production as an alternative source of livelihood so that people could do fodder farming in a market-oriented approach. But then this has not worked. 3 years or about 3 decades down the line, we are still talking of starvation in terms of lack of livestock feed and related resources. So we are asking sometimes, I think about 2 years ago, we did a study. We were looking at what is the issue. These approaches have been here for about 3 decades. What is the problem? So we found out that these approaches, which are very good, are not working out because of lack of proper and sustainable ways of letting people pick up the ideas, use them, and be able to benefit from these approaches. Then we now moved into getting a solution ourselves. So we have a model which is actually right now into implementation or into trial. We are doing a pilot. We have come up with an approach which is collecting or putting together or collective action. We want to put farmers together in terms of social groups that are oriented or interested in fodder farming. And 2, the next approach is to come up with a digital platform. So the approach is to put a collective action digital platform as a combined way of enhancing access to information. What would be the benefit of doing collective action? We have social groups in these areas. And what we want to do is to capacitate them in terms of increasing their capacity, increasing their effectiveness, and deliver in terms of what they can do in enhancing local members to do fodder farming for the reasons that we had mentioned before. Secondly, fodder farming, this is an approach where we want to create a digital platform. The digital platform here is mobile-based and also a website where all the stakeholders can engage. So that we have a system where we have a farmer directly talking to a policymaker, directly talking to somebody from the government, to an investor and extension officer and all that. So that we narrow, because one of the problems that we found out was that there was a break, there was a gap between the local farmer or that pastoralist, whom we want to get the information. So the gap of lack of access to information is why we are moving into bringing the collective action and Fodder and digital platform, putting this together to enhance the interaction. So far, one thing that we've done is we've done stakeholder analysis so that we know who are these people involved in fodder farming in terms of their influences, their roles, and then now we get the entry point in so that we can enhance adoption of these practices. So, and where are we aiming to? We are aiming to where we have the collective action, where now we have these farmers working together, doing fodder farming together, selling, having enough for their livestock, selling excess or extra to get alternative source of livelihood, and having those degraded lands properly improved. So that the second picture below you see is one of the farmers, like one of the best farmers that we're using, to pilot and enhance what we are working on. Then, so this is an ongoing work that we would want everybody else, including yourselves, to engage so that we see how we can upscale and outscale these ideas for the benefit of, because these are some of the things that we can try elsewhere because they are working things. So that's why I'm asking you as an individual, what could be your contribution towards this? How can we engage in terms of ideas so that we can, move on with some of these things? So below is the website through which that is a developed website that we're already working on. We're already engaging farmers and stakeholders. And this is where we can engage further because we are in different places and we want to make these things work better for everybody else elsewhere across. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.